Lots of great insights today about artificial intelligence, its impact on jobs, on HR. I'm going to start with actually this question: what is artificial intelligence? Right? I want us to kind of get a base understanding of what this technology is all about. And artificial intelligence is essentially trying to have computers do human-like tasks. That's the core of it. And when you think of that, why is that happening today? What's really fueling the need for machines to do human-like tasks? There's an influx of data. There's massive amounts of data that is being generated today through all technologies. There's an increase in the computational capability that we as mankind can see today. The power of our computers, I mean, what you have in your pocket and cell phone is a lot more power than a computer that had like 20, 25 years back. That's computational power. And the third is advances in the field like machine learning, deep learning, right? What is really machine learning? Right? Let me talk about that for a minute. What is machine learning? Because that sits at the heart of it. Think about a time when we've come from the era of computers, and computers were programmable. So which means you had to go from X to Y. You would write a program using some language or some code, right? So you want to do financial accounting, you write a program. You want to do banking, you write a program, right? That was the era of computing. What era we are in now with machine learning is where systems are beginning to learn on their own. Let's take an example. You want to write a program to describe the face of a human being? Think about it. Let me make another angle to it. You write a program to describe the face of a human being. Now write a program to differentiate the face of a man versus a woman. Let's go one level deeper, right? Now think about trying to describe the face of every person on Earth. You're talking 7 billion programs, right? Easily. Is that even practical? That's where machine learning comes in, when you show the pictures to the machine and it starts programming on its own to understand this is the face of a man, this is the face of a woman, this is the face of this person, and so on. Think about Facebook. How many of you have been using Facebook? And remember a time when you would put a picture, you'd put a question mark and a name, that is this your friend, or, you know? That was actually image recognition in the back end. It was asking you to validate, yes, this is this person or not, and the machine was learning based on your inputs. So with that understanding, the example I just gave you was about image recognition, one capability in machine learning. Now go back, human-like tasks, vision. Can look at looking at an image and understanding it, right? Think about the use of image in pictures. Think about image in X-rays. Think about image in different elements, right? That's all machine learning. What are the other technologies? Speech. You talk to your phone, Siri, right? It understands what you're saying. So that again, speech, image, vision. These are all different technologies in AI. It's important that when you look at these technologies, there's a lot of capability it can bring in, right? But then there is also a certain amount of incapability with the technology. And I call it incapability because it takes time to train this. You can train a machine to look at the face of a human being. Ask the machine to now do something else, it can't. A machine that knows how to play chess does not know how to play checkers. And that's fundamentally different than human beings. Even a 5-year-old, you tell them, show them a dog, they'll know this is a dog. You show them a cat, they'll know this is a cat, right? For a machine, it's doing that process all over again. And that's why we believe that machines and machine learning and artificial intelligence is actually going to augment the intelligence of human beings. It's not going to replace the intelligence of human beings. And you need to understand that that's the fundamental reason why this is going to land where it will land. So with that understanding of artificial intelligence and that it's actually going to augment human intelligence and not replace it, I have just 3 points to make to all of you as HR leaders in how we remain relevant and how we actually shape this for the future. This is the first one. So show of hands. How many of you have kids going to school? A lot of you. How many of you are worried or concerned or take time to understand what your kids learn at school? What are they understanding? Who's teaching them, right? What kind of values are they imbibing? AI is like the child in school today. As HR leaders, we have to be really worried about how are these systems being created and who's training these systems, and what data sets are these systems getting trained with, right? So that's where the element of inclusion and diversity comes in. As HR leaders, we need to ensure we create an environment of people who are creating these technologies. There is enough of diversity and inclusion of thought, and then we have the right technologies being created, and we eliminate biases that can creep in. I'll give you an example of a bias, right? There was this, about a year back, there was a study that a software, an AI software, when it was looking at the faces and image recognition, it would have an error rate. And for white males, the error rate was about 3%, right? But for blacks and females, the error rate was 35%. Think about it. What can that mean for us? So when biases like this creep into this technology, it was because when it was created, nobody ever thought about so many details because there was not enough diversity when this technology was being created, right? And that's where, as HR leaders, play a big role in ensuring that the workplaces that we have diversity, and more importantly, have inclusion, that everyone has a way or a say in how this technology is created. That's my point number one to all of you. Inclusion and diversity is bigger than individual tech brains, okay? The second thing I want to share with all of you is, okay, that's at a societal level, but in organizations, how many of us, again, a show of hands, in our organizations, in HR, are structured by functions: talent acquisition, compensation, learning? Most of us. Why are we structured like that? Because we're optimizing for the process, right? We're optimizing for scale. That world has changed. That world has changed, and we're now in the world where employee experience takes front and center seat. And that is, by the way, no new news, right? You've heard about this, experience is critical, most probably all of you are working around it. The bigger thing here, or the new news here, is how do you use AI to actually enhance employee experience, right? And I'm going to encourage all of you to not think about AI as adding another chatbot to your process to improve or simplify your process. That's not really changing the experience of the employee. How many of you like to interact with a chatbot, right? The experience changes when you fundamentally rethink the entire process. Let's take an example. Most of you would know Netflix, personalized recommendations of what you can watch, television, or based on your preferences. Use that into learning, right? So employees, if you have the capability to now provide personalized learning recommendations, you could use it on the same model of Netflix. I take a certain learning, and then based on that learning, you can keep giving more recommendations. Add another layer. Add about understanding what job the employee does today and what skills are needed for that job. Add another layer to say, okay, if you're, for example, a software developer and you want to become an architect, here are the steps, and based on your skills where you are to where you want to go, here is the path. And here is how the skills will work. And then you can actually see the impact of that skill development in employee based on how they're learning, how they're consuming the education, and how they're actually using it in their job. Now you're suddenly fundamentally thinking not personalized learning recommendations, you're actually thinking career development. And that's the experience you're thinking about. So my encouragement to all of you as HR leaders is, when you're thinking about this technology, do not think solely about, let me bring this chatbot in and solve this one process. Let me kind of improve this one pipeline issue that I have. You need to fundamentally rethink what that process will look like and what that experience will look like for the employee. And then the last piece that I want to share with is skills for all of us in HR, right? So as you think about inclusion at a societal level, as you think about experience at an organizational level, and we took the example of skill building using AI, the skills that I think we need in HR for all of us. Let's take a small example again. So if you were to hire a CFO in the past, right? Somebody with 20 years experience, right? Let's call this person Mr. A. And you would hire this person, Mr. A, with 20 years experience. Why would you hire the person with this kind of background? Because they've got the experience and they can bring those insights to that job to make the company successful. Fair? Think about time today when you're into actually, you hire a fresh person from college. Call this person Mr. B, right? Okay, let's call this person Miss B, okay? And you hire this person in. Now, because of your AI's capability, where you have all the data, all the information, and all the insights at your fingertips, Miss B already has the entire level of insight that Mr. A captured over 20 years. What does Miss B not have? So you have actually augmented Miss B's intelligence, and if I may say, functional intelligence, using all your AI and your tools. What you have not augmented is the emotional intelligence of Miss B, because she's not gone through all the trials and tribulations that Mr. A has gone through in his learning path. And so as HR professionals, I think the most important skill that you can pick up is that of coaching based on empathy to help your leaders and help your teams navigate this change. It might sound counterproductive, right? We're sitting on a technology forum, but we're actually talking about empathy, right, as the most important skill. And lastly is the element about personal learning agility. Get on the train, like the previous speaker said, get on the train. Do not hesitate. That's important. So let me end with to sum it up, I think at a societal level, inclusion and ethics, we play a big role. All of us as HR leaders play a big role, and we need to do this. At an organizational level, let's focus on experiences and skills of our employees. And at individual HR professional level, let's build our coaching skills and let's build personal learning agility. Thank you.